crawling out of the car. The water was up in the car.
Wicked weather hitting the South and Midwest ahead of the holiday weekend, flooding turning deadly in Texas, while twisters cause destruction in Kansas. Thank you for joining us for Fox 4 News at 10. I'm Malcolm Johnson. Those torrential downpours causing deadly flooding in southeast Texas. At least 2 people have died and several are missing. Mary Maloney has more.
A deadly storm struck outside Houston, Texas. The rain caused floodwaters to rise fast.
There's lightning striking everywhere. It's just really violent, and yeah, I don't feel safe.
Horrific weather has pounded southeast Texas lately, with 2 500-year flood events in 2 months.
Two times in one year is kind of, I got kids, so it's kind of hard to build it again.
Flooding forced some children to spend the night at school because buses and cars couldn't get through the high water. Dozens of people had to be rescued from houses and cars after being trapped by the floods.
We were crawling out of the car. The water was up in the car.
After the waters receded, the damage became clear. A road crumbled and collapsed. At least 1 truck flipped and branches broke.
And then I looked up and went, uh-oh. There's half of the tree that's hanging.
Parts of the Midwest also under a severe threat. In Fargo, North Dakota, funnel clouds form. And in Moorhead, Minnesota, cameras caught what looks like a tornado touching down. The severe weather striking as many people plan to travel for Memorial Day. I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
The South Carolina coast may not get too much sun this Memorial Day weekend. The coastline is under a tropical storm warning as Tropical Storm Bonnie formed in the western Atlantic this afternoon. I'm joined now by Tony Sadiku, who's in the Storm Shield 4 Weather Center. Tony, what's it looking like now in the tropics?
Good evening, Malcolm. It's really looking like tropical season has got an early start here as we have our second named storm, even before the start of the official hurricane season, which is June 1st. You can see there in satellite radar, impressive system here, but it's really not going to bring a whole lot of effects, really just looking for some heavy rain all up and down the South Carolina coast. As you can see, all of the area there is in a tropical storm warning. And that's what we expect. This is the latest advisory as of 11 o'clock. They issue advisories at 5 and 11. So the latest has it a little bit stronger than it was earlier, about 45 miles per hour. But this thing is hardly moving. So as a result, this is going to be a slow-moving system that's going to really put a damper on outdoor plans for those in South Carolina as well as North Carolina here over the coming days. Meanwhile, for us, our weather has been stormy at times. You can see there the sea breeze kicking up into the afternoon. May have had to dodge that downpour. Right now, things are quiet, but I am tracking more rain here for your Sunday as well as the holiday weekend. We'll talk more about that forecast coming up. Malcolm.
All right, thanks, Tone. And remember, 4 in Your Corner is your source for complete weather coverage. Download our Storm Shield 4 mobile app for push alerts and up-to-date information about conditions in your area. And 4 is in your corner and is here to get you ready for hurricane season. We're airing our hurricane special. All of our meteorologists have been working very hard on this, shielding you from the storm. It airs on the first day of hurricane season. That's Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. right here on Fox 4. Police need your help tracking down this woman. They say she used a fraudulent credit card in an attempt to purchase more than $1,000 worth of Burger King gift cards. That's right, Burger King. She successfully purchased $800 in gift cards from a Naples location and last night tried to purchase more cards from a store out in Bonita Springs. But an employee alerted her supervisor of the unusual request, which was ultimately denied. The woman left in a blue Ford F-150 with a cover on the bed of the pickup truck. If you have any information that can help police, call Crime Stoppers, 1-800-780-TIPS. If you're planning a Memorial Day weekend road trip, expect plenty of company out there on the roads. More than 38 million drivers are expected to hit the highways and interstates for the holiday. That would be the highest number of road travelers since 2005 and second highest on record. AAA says the big reason? Well, it's the nation's lowest gas prices in more than a decade. The national average is $2.28 a gallon. That's 46 cents lower than this time last year. The prices here in Southwest Florida are even lower. The average price around town is $2.16. And the lowest in town, according to Gas Buddy, is $2.04.
Woke up this morning, come out here ready to party.
Yeah, we can tell. Last Memorial Day, a 20-year-old man lost his life at the Redneck Mud Park after being knocked off his ATV. And this Memorial Day, thrill seekers are heading back to Punta Gorda to go mudding this weekend. The park has a reputation for being rowdy, but staff tells 4 in Your Corner's Sam Sosa that they've made some changes since last year's fatal accident.
The Redneck Mud Park in Punta Gorda might not be the place for families.
It's like Mardi Gras. That's what it's like, but swamp buggies.
But it is where people go to enjoy mud trails for their ATVs and trucks.
When you go in, it's like mud holes everywhere.
With Memorial Day weekend coming up, the park is expecting huge crowds, charging $70 upon entry. And some say once you get in, there aren't many rules.
They let people do reckless stuff all over. They see people drinking and driving and drinking and riding four-wheelers.
Last Memorial Day, park staff was devastated to find out one of their guests, 20-year-old Nicholas Kirk, died after driving into a tow line and getting knocked off his ATV. This year, park staff tells me they've made some changes. A representative from the park says they've added a dedicated emergency lane inside the park so EMS can get inside in a matter of seconds if there's an accident. And they're not allowing four-wheelers on the main road anymore. Riders sign a waiver and kids under 18 need to have their parents sign theirs.
Ride at your own risk. That's what they tell you at the waiver at the front. Ride at your own risk.
Before entering the park, security checks each car for things like glass and weapons and assigns wristbands for those over and under 21. Park staff tells me they're working with Charlotte County Sheriff's Office this weekend to monitor traffic outside and have a team of up to 50 security guards at a time inside.
Yeah, there's more. There's a lot more. That's why we got kicked out. Because there's too many of them.
Sam Sosa, Fox 4, in your corner.
Thank you, Sam. The park wants to remind people that they have a zero-tolerance policy for underage drinking, and they will be looking out for people drinking and driving. Nearly 3 dozen arrests made after altercations broke out in San Diego yesterday following yet another Trump rally. Steve Nons reports.
This is what democracy looks like.
Hundreds marched through the streets in what started out as a peaceful protest outside the San Diego Convention Center Friday. Demonstrators held up signs and chanted during Donald Trump's second rally of the day.
What a crowd!
Inside the convention center, crowds were cheering for the presumptive GOP nominee.
Come here!
But the event itself didn't go without interruption.
Look at the cameras, they turned because they found the protest. Get them out! Get them out! Get them the hell out of here!
The situation only escalated from there. Once the event was over, San Diego police, out in full force and dressed in riot gear, attempted to seal off anti-Trump demonstrators from supporters as they left the rally. Shouting matches ensued. A few scuffles broke out. Police ordered the crowd to leave, at times aggressively. At least 35 people were arrested. Trump later applauded the San Diego police in a tweet. Fantastic job on handling the thugs who tried to disrupt our very peaceful and well-attended rally. Greatly appreciated. Steve Nannis, Fox 4 in your corner.
And as you just saw, Donald Trump taking to Twitter about the San Diego rally, tweeting, quote, San Diego PD, fantastic job on handling the thugs who tried to disrupt our very peaceful and well-attended rally. Bernie Sanders holding a campaign rally today in Santa Barbara with Dick Van Dyke addressing the crowd before Sanders took to the podium. Although Hillary Clinton has an almost insurmountable delegate lead, Sanders is pressing on with his campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination. The latest polls show Sanders and Clinton in a statistical dead heat in the Golden State. The California primary will be held on June 7th. Members of the Libertarian Party are holding their national convention in Orlando this holiday weekend. They've come together to cast tokens to choose their presidential candidate. Many party members expect former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson to be chosen as the party's standard bearer. He was the Libertarian presidential nominee 4 years ago. Early in the afternoon, he was the front runner with more than 200 tokens. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld has expressed interest in the party's vice presidential nomination. The Libertarian nominee will appear on ballots in all 50 states. And if you want to have a say in who represents you at both the local, state, and federal level, now's the time to make sure you're registered to vote. The primary election is happening on August 30th, but the deadline to register is August 1st. Meanwhile, the general election is taking place November 8th, and to vote in that race, you must register by October 11th. And you can get started right now when you head to our website, Fox 4 Now. In more Florida news, at least one person dead and 2 others injured following a boat accident last night in St. Petersburg. Fire rescue crews responding around 9:45 p.m. Officials say 2 private boats collided in Bayboro Marina. 2 victims were taken to the hospital where they are being treated for extensive injuries, while the 3rd was pronounced dead at the scene. An investigation is ongoing. The body of a 56-year-old Florida man was recovered near the vintage World War II plane that crashed in the Hudson River Friday. A large crane aboard an Army Corps of Engineers vessel being used to pull the wreckage out of the water. It will then be handed over to the Federal Aviation Administration, and a full investigation will then be conducted. The vintage 1-seater plane had taken off from Republican Airport on Long Island. A distress signal was sent before it crashed into the Hudson. There's a little more than relaxation going on.
It's almost common knowledge that Asian massage parlors are known for that.
The website leading to naughty acts in Southwest Florida.
This is something that happened to us while we were serving our country.
Thousands of injured veterans return home infertile. The treatment they need denied. One woman's fight for motherhood. That's next on Fox 4 News at 10.